we're going with what we call an 8-3-1+1 rub. And what we're talking about here is parts. 8 parts of light brown sugar, 3 parts of kosher salt, and 1 part of chili powder, plus 1, which we'll get to shortly. Now, seal up nice and tight in a mason jar or some other jar that you've washed, and shake to combine. But we'd like to mix things up a little. As a matter of fact, we've discovered there are 6 things that we like to mix up into that 1 part, starting with black pepper. Now, these are just small amounts that are going to add up to the 1 part. Cayenne, jalapeno seasoning, which is really just dried and ground jalapenos with some other seasons added. Little Old Bay, personal favorite of mine. Rubbed or dried thyme for an herbal note. And that leaves us with just enough room for onion powder. There we go. Yeah, that's 1 part. Now, that goes on top, and again, we cover and shake. Now, lay each slab out on its own big piece of heavy-duty aluminum foil, and make sure that the shiny side is down. That'll make the heat come in just a little bit slower, which is good. Now, lay on the rub, and don't be prissy about it. Contact is critical. Push on and flip. Now, this other side doesn't matter quite as much, so don't go overboard. It's mostly the convex side that we're after. Why aluminum foil? Well, because we can basically shape the pan to fit the food, which is a good thing. And of course, you don't have to wash it. I love that. So, bring it right up in the middle and just fold it over once and then push down. We don't want to do any fancy crimping because we've got to get back into these to add some liquid later. There. Now, these are going to go right back into the refrigerator for at least 1 hour before cooking. You could do this, well, the night before, and it would be even better. Now, wash those porky hands. So, into a microwavable container will go, for moisture and acidity, 1 cup of white wine. Bolster that with 2 tablespoons of white wine vinegar. If you don't have white wine vinegar, it's okay. Just use any vinegar that you've got. 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. That takes care of the salty. Now for the sweet, a tablespoon of honey. And I never measure this stuff. I just figure that each squeeze is a teaspoon. So 3 squeezes. 1, 2, 3. 3 teaspoons makes a tablespoon. Now, really last but not least, 2 smashed and chopped cloves of garlic. You don't have to be pretty with it, and you don't have to be fancy with it. Now, why garlic? Hey, garlic don't need no reason. There we go. And look, it's pre-chopped for us. So if you smash right, you don't have to do anything else. Just scoop that right in and lid it up. We're going to put this in the microwave for 1 minute. Meanwhile, we will prep the ribs. Just open up one end of the crimp and kind of turn it into a funnel. Looks like a couple of big silver wide-mouthed bass. Make sure that the opening's over the tray in case you do any spilling, which I usually do. Half the liquid goes into this side, and half the liquid goes into this side. Then just give the tray a little bit of a tilt just to kind of distribute everything down there. Hear it gurgle, gurgle. Then crimp up the ends. Next stop for these bad boys is a 225-degree oven for 2.5 hours. Now, aggressive oven management is required here, so cook by your instruments, namely the oven thermometer. See, if it gets too hot in here, the meat's going to dry out in spite of all that liquid. In that case, no amount of dissolved gelatin in the world will ever bring that lip-smacking goodness back. When it comes to ribs, speed kills, so do not attempt to pick up the pace on this. Your patience will be rewarded. Well, the timer says the braise is done, but there's only really one way to know for sure, and that's to look and feel. So, slide out your rack and just open up one end of one of the pouches. Now, you can do this with paper towels, but I'm trying to sacrifice myself for science here. There, now just grab one end, lift up, and then reach for one of the, one of the ribs further back. Just grab it and give it a twist. Now, if you feel the bone just rotating in the socket, that means that the collagen has started to dissolve around the bone. And that means that these ribs are done. So I'm going to get my saucier out, but you can use any wide pan, and just lay the packet right in the middle of the pan like that, and take your kitchen shears and just snip a hole in the foil. It's like opening a nice barrel of wine. It'll drain right out. Now, all in all, I'd say that we got about a cup and a half of liquid back out of this, and those are fine liquid assets indeed. 10 minutes later, and a humble braising liquid is reduced down to a barbecue sauce that's suitable for bottling and selling for $6 a shot. Of course, that would probably require special licenses and permits, so we'll just stick to this. Get this off of the heat, by the way, because when it gets to this consistency, the next step is burned, and it happens very quick. So let's go ahead and open up the ribs, but do not remove them from the foil. Foil is actually going to help us get them colored once they're under the broiler. Now, grab your nearest basting brush, this is the only way, and literally paint the glaze right onto the meat. This goes under the broiler, but I'm not about to tell you how long. The reason is, I don't want you to walk away from this, even for a minute, because in as little as 30 seconds, that sugar is going to start to bubble on top that's in the glaze. It's going to start to caramelize. And in as little as a minute, it's going to be brown. 10 more seconds, it'll be black. So keep a very close eye on it.